Hi, I'm John Mitchell, IPC President and CEO. IPC recognizes that you, our members and customers, are greatly affected by the ongoing tariff dispute between China and the United States. To date, the two countries have imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars in imports in a tit-for-tat that could escalate further if an agreement is not reached soon. President Trump has threatened to increase U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports again on December 15th if a Phase 1 deal has not been reached, and the Chinese government has promised to retaliate with its own tariffs and market restrictions. While the negotiations between the United States and China continue, the disruptive effects of the tariffs on the electronics industry continue to be felt as well. To determine these effects on U.S. electronics manufacturers, IPC conducted a survey of its U.S. members. The results reflect how difficult it is for a global industry to navigate this uncertainty. Here's what we learned. Almost 90% of U.S. electronics manufacturers are troubled by higher tariffs imposed by the United States and China on each other's imports. Companies are choosing to invest less in the United States, laying off staff or slowing the hiring process. On average, companies are seeing tariff increases on 31% of total dollar value of the products they import. 25% of companies report over half the dollar value of the products they import are facing higher tariffs. More than a third of companies cannot increase their prices to cover the cost of higher import tariffs due to various factors. 51% of responding companies report they are now sourcing from countries other than China as a result of increased tariffs on Chinese imports. While some manufacturers are not affected by the trade war, the overall response shows that rising tariffs are putting a painful squeeze on many electronics manufacturers in the United States, China, and even Europe, and on their business partners and customers as well. IPC members tell us they are facing supply chain disruptions, steeper costs, and market access problems from the tariffs that have been imposed to date, and the impacts are likely to grow as the trade war drags on. Tariffs are taxes, and they distort global competition, create an uneven playing field for businesses, and force companies to choose suboptimal, second-best alternatives when it comes to their global operations. More importantly, the uncertainty of tariffs damage workers' job security. Consumer and businesses on both sides of the ocean now face the burden of higher annual costs in the tens of billions of dollars. IPC's position on this issue is rooted in the fact that electronics manufacturing facilities are located throughout the world, including the United States and China, and they are engaged in a complex web of supply chain relationships that cross multiple borders. Imposing tariffs on goods from a single country like China gives the false notion that we are creating a steeper hill only for Chinese goods. More accurately, a great many goods coming from China are made by American companies, support American jobs, and are sold to American consumers as American goods. IPC supports the right for all countries to address unfair trade practices. And we have long-standing concerns about some of Chinese industrial policies, including government subsidies and intellectual property violations. But addressing unfair trade practices by ratcheting up tariffs is like using a sledgehammer to make orange juice. In both cases, it's the wrong tool and makes a mess of the job. We warned of the harm to manufacturers and consumers when the idea of tariffs was first discussed, and we have been watching the situation like a hawk since the trade war began. We are committed to advocating for our members as this trade war takes a toll on our industry. To begin to fix this situation, IPC is calling on the governments of the United States and China to de-escalate the tariffs and focus on concluding meaningful agreements that address the long-standing concerns of both sides. Moreover, the US, China, and other major trading partners need to recommit themselves to strong multilateral mechanisms to enforce existing and future trade agreements. The bottom line is, we're in a wait-and-see situation. And until we see some solutions, the tariffs will continue to take a toll on the electronics industry, our workers, and customers. We're aware of the issues you're facing, and we are doing our best to help. Please feel free to reach out to me with any concerns you have. Let's continue the conversation and work on solving this critical issue together. Thank you.